forecast. We'll make sure you're not bored to death, but all your friends have disappeared, and you're the last one left. If you want to live, I suggest not doing drugs and having sex. Run through the forest grasping for breath, as you're chased by a maniac wearing a mask of flesh. Tripping over dead friends, this isn't over until you get revenge. Final girls try to survive in a violent world. It's eye for an eye. Hide behind doors, lying underneath beds, trying to bide your time and find your strength, and figure out how much time it takes to escape before it's too late, or come face to face with a grim fate. Welcome to Class Horrorcast. Let's see how long you last as you torture to death. So come join your host Aran and Tom as we bring you a podcast that will leave you laughing in a body bag or a bloodbath. Welcome to Class Horrorcast. Let's see how long you last.
One, two, Freddy's coming for you.
But in 2010, he came back with a new face and a darker edge. Tonight, we're looking back at a Nightmare on Elm Street remake. Was it a dream come true or a nightmare best left forgotten? From the controversial new Freddy to the film's brutal reimagining, we're diving deep into this divisive reboot. So don't fall asleep because Class Horrorcast starts now.
And he is coming for you, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's a weird one that we're going to have to... I was thinking about this actually earlier, like how to kind of gloss over that, or like how to like say it or not say it.
That they really opened the door to that he was like a pedo, and like,
yeah,
like before it was just kind of hinted at it, but in this one they really want to open the door. And as much as I wanted to see a movie of explaining what happened to him and his the background, we'll get into it. Actually, I'm not going to say anything. We'll get into it, but I did not like how they're like kind of went towards like it wasn't his fault. He just like loved children. It's like, okay, let's not to go that direction.
You know what's weird, right? From like kind of diving into this movie again, I definitely have some different thoughts than I originally had. Some better, some worse. But I see a lot of people who kind of have done the same thing that we're probably about to do and try to give it another chance, and like maybe, you know, maybe pull some positives that like you could have gotten from the movie that maybe you didn't see the first time. But everyone seems to really hinge on the whole like pedophile thing.
They didn't need to like go into that explanation of it, like with the amount of like the CGI and the graphics. I think they did overdo a bit. Are you having a Heine?
Yeah, I'm having a.
This is just pure Scotch.
But what do you always call that?
Heineken? Heine?
No, but you always call me like Bill Gates or something, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, because you're moobs. Because he sponsored that company and put God knows what into it.
All microplastics, just 2 balls full of microplastics.
It's all in her nuts, supposedly, which is crazy, man.
Yeah, there's that weird guy. I don't know. I can't remember his name. Everyone's probably knows what I'm talking about. He's like on TikTok and YouTube and everywhere now. He's that guy who's trying to like age backwards.
Oh, I heard about that.
His face resurfacing, so he kind of looks like Michael Jackson. But he does all this stuff. He's like some sort of millionaire guy, but now he's dedicated like his whole existence to
trying to reverse age.
Yeah, like, and he tries all these different protocols, and then like they do all testing on his body to see like what's better for people, what's not. And I actually seen a TikTok this morning where he was talking about, oh, you know, most guys want balls of steel, but unfortunately most of us have balls of plastic. And he started talking about like something about like there's like 8 to 10%, like 100% of men have like 8 to 10% of like their fucking balls, something has like microplastics in it. And in the last like 50 years, the increase in like the brain or something is like a 60% increase of like plastics and shit.
Dude, it's not good. There'll be, I'm not gonna say it, but that's like stuff saved for my show. But like there is a lot of stuff that they've done to like poison us. We need to go back to glass, because realistically, glass, like you can melt down and you can make something new out of it, no matter what, like mostly what type of glass it is, because it's mostly all the same, where you just kind of, you can melt it down or whatever. But it is interesting because even like people are like, you gotta recycle. You know, like 80 to 90% of the recycling just goes into the trash. Like it just goes into a landfill. They found this as the biggest scam ever. Like, if you just do this, it'll help the planet. And it's like, they're like, here in Canada, we have to pay a carbon tax. We have to pay a tax on the carbon emission quotations that we use, which is some authoritarian Orwellian nightmare. Like, and that's going up 20%. Essentially, it's just used to cripple us and make sure that all of us stay poor and happy and own nothing like they want. But it is crazy when you still look at that. Like a kid at work was like, I was joking about him. He's like 20. He's like, my nuts are full of plastic, man. I was like, we used to drink like out of copper. Copper cups are really good for you. Stuff like that. Great. My dog's freaking out.
It's usually me.
Plastic.
No, Dad, not my balls.
yeah, you already got those taken away, which I didn't even really want to do in the first place. This is Class Horrorcast. We go off topic, much like my show about weird things at the beginning, but it is like crazy. We live in a crazy world, and this is also kind of a crazy movie that they tried to pull off in general. And it's just like, I have so much stuff to say, but like,
yeah, like I suppose first I'll probably start with just some general housekeeping. Maybe if you're listening to this for some reason you don't know any of this or like I've never seen it, but it's a 2010 American supernatural slasher film directed by Samuel Bayer. This was his feature directorial debut, which is kind of mad that they gave him this franchise.
Did he do anything else memorable?
Let me see. That's something I probably should have checked beforehand. So he's done a shit ton of music videos before that. Like he done the music video for "Smells Like Teen Spirit." He's worked with Ozzy Osbourne. He's worked with Iron
Smells
Maiden.
Like Teen Spirit is not that hard, man. They're just on a stage in a high school, and it's
a lot of Green Day stuff. Offspring, Pearl Jam, the Cranberries. Good Charlotte, My Chemical Romance.
Their bombs and their guns and their bombs.
David Bowie.
In my head.
Done a lot of commercials.
Cranberries is Irish, aren't they?
Oh, the only movie he ever done was Nightmare on Elm Street, and then he's been attached to several other projects. Get Carter, a 2000 remake of starring Sylvester Stallone. A remake of Vanishing Point, a cancelled remake of Near Dark for Platinum Dunes, which I think might have gotten cancelled after this whole thing with this. I think Platinum Dunes were like, I think we're going to get out of the business of rebooting things now.
Yeah, it's terrible.
But yeah, like
Hollywood does one great thing, not a great thing, but Hollywood literally is just known for recycling stuff. That's all they do. If they know, like, well, these people spent money on this before, we'll just do it again. That's all they do all the time.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. And this kind of what I was going to say next kind of ties into that. It was originally to follow the same design as Platinum Dunes' other remake, Friday the 13th, where the writers took the best elements from each of the films in the original series and created a single storyline with them. Eventually, they decided to use Craven's original storyline, but tried to create a scarier film. To that end, they decided to remove the one-line quipping Freddy, who would become less scary and more comical over the years and bring back his darker nature. They developed the character to be a child molester, something that Craven wanted to do originally in 1984, but changed to a child killer instead. His physical appearance was changed with the use of computer-generated imagery to be closer to that of a Burns victim. Because of the positive experiences Platinum Dunes producers had in the area, and Nightmare on Elm Street was filmed primarily in Illinois, Craven expressed his displeasure with this when he was consulted on the project. Robert Englund, who portrayed Freddy in the previous 8 films, voiced his support of the remake and the casting of Haley in the role of Freddy Krueger.
It's so funny. Wes Craven's like, I fucking hate Illinois. I don't want to fucking film there.
It had its world premiere in Hollywood on April 27, 2010, and was theatrically released in North America on April 30th by Warner Brothers Pictures and New Line Cinema. Despite mostly negative reviews, the film grossed $63 million domestically and $117.7 million worldwide, making it the highest grossing film in the franchise.
That's crazy. It's because people wanted it. People wanted it to be good.
And I always say this, they already have your money then at that point. You've already once they get over that initial, they've got 120 million, so don't give a fuck.
When was this? 2011?
2010.
10. So right after the Friday the 13th remake, which I think was, like we said, we're gonna harken back to that because it was around the exact same time. They rebooted both at the same time. The 2009 was pretty gnarly. Like it was a pretty decent movie. Not like I hate when they go, they just they do so many things with CGI and it bothers me. And I've been watching stuff for the Dark Castle deep dive that we'll be getting into. And they do that with those movies. So it's like as soon as we have with CGI and in like computer graphics, they like overdo it a lot. And it is interesting. It made so much money because people wanted it, right? And they want like people love the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise, and there's it's a loyal fan base. Like I was excited for it. I remember hearing about it, and I had high hopes because I like Jack Healy, right? Is his name? I liked
Jackie Earle Haley.
Yeah, Jackie Earle Haley. He's amazing as Rorschach.
Yeah, very good.
I'm not trapped in here with you. You're trapped in here with me. Like
that movie's so sick. Like,
I think he got this role off the back of his performance as Rorschach.
It was so good. And I will say one of the notes I did write was I will say the voice is fine with me for Freddy. It was fine with me. I was like,
okay, so it's funny, right? It's funny you say that. So I had written down my literal first thing I written down was, so I'm going to say something potentially controversial. Jackie Earle Haley was actually really good as Freddy, bar the strange choice for his voice, which I am pretty sure is out of his control as it was altered in post to make it sound more supernatural, which is something I found out afterwards that the producers were like, no, we want the voice to sound more supernatural. I actually don't have an issue with the voice at all, and I was only rewatching like key scenes literally about an hour ago.
mm-hmm.
I don't understand. There's times like there's a part where he has Nancy on the bed and like he's doing that whole like sexy, creepy thing, but he's all like,
I know, I don't like it.
But then even like there's times like where the chick falls asleep in the classroom and he's like, you really shouldn't fall asleep in the class. I'm like, what are you?
Oh
like,
yeah, no, I agree.
I don't know why I feel like they've altered the audio so much that at times he's literally just going, and I'm like, I don't know what you're saying. Like it's fucking really embarrassing.
It is funny because like I wrote this in like succession of like when I was watching it. So at first I'm like the voice isn't like it's not terrible, and well I want to get to the makeup later. I hope you have some photos of it. You fucking better. But like even the right when you get into the film, I wrote down it's kind of this instantly starts out cringy. Of him just like sitting at the diner. Of course, he's at a diner. Always got to be at a diner at the beginning of a movie for some fucking reason. And then it's just like he's like, "Oh, I'm falling asleep at the diner." It's like I try to stay awake, drinking the coffee. Like I get that.
Yeah, it's like, man, coffee. I'm at the diner. Get me a coffee, bro.
Why wouldn't you just, to be honest? Why wouldn't you just do drugs? Why would you just do cocaine until your heart explodes? You're going to die anyway by some supernatural child molesting freak. Why not just do coke until you're like on a bender and you're like, you don't sleep? Like I knew dudes that wouldn't sleep for fucking weeks, man. I knew a dude that didn't have to sleep for 2 weeks pretty much because of cocaine. Why not just do that? You know? It's like I'm not promoting drugs, but if you're in a horror movie and you're chased by some child molester, and it is true that like Wes Craven made him a child murderer, right? And the idea is there's very far in between. We know this when we cover stuff on Strange Brew podcast, is that it's a lot of times it's a both, right? It's like they're getting to the kids to molest them, and then they get rid of the evidence. And realistically, if your evidence is a little smaller than a full-size human body, it's a little easier to get rid of. Ask Chris Watts. You know what I mean? Until you like somebody traces it back to you. But like realistically, right? We just did which probably should be getting close to out, but it's out on audio, but it'll be out on video. Is the Ian Brady and Myra Hindley episode. Like their purpose was to have the sexy time with them. It was to molest them.
Something right? Actually, you mentioned Wes Craven there, and I had written this down specifically because we talked about this in the previous Friday the 13th reboot, kind of. And I had found out, so Wes Craven signed the sequel franchise rights away when he made the original, just under the agreement that he could get the original even financed in the first place. So that's how he kind of was able to get the first movie made, was he just signed away the rights to any future sequels or a franchise if it became big. You see, I
Yeah.
think he didn't know. He was like, I don't know if this is just like gonna disappear or will it be just a one-hit wonder? And I have no other way to get it made other than to sign away any potential IP. So he does that, right? And I had written down, much like the story we heard about the Friday the 13th movie from 2009, New Line called the movie a sequel rather than a remake, so they didn't have to pay Craven money for having story credit on the original script. So remember, we were given, me specifically, I was given Victor Miller a lot of shit about like complaining. Remember, he tried to sue the producers of that reboot in 2009.
Yeah.
I remember I was saying like, "Oh, fucking scumbag! He just seems to sue anybody that mentions Friday the 13th." But
Mhm.
then reading this about Wes Craven, I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility that this was a thing that like the lawyers come in and went, by the way, there's a loophole. If you just call it a sequel, even though it's a remake, we don't actually have to pay the original writers any money, or we can
Which
give them
I
a
think is
free
wrong.
paycheck. Scummy.
Yeah, it is scummy. There, but what do you expect from Hollywood and who controls Hollywood? But like this, that I like Wes Craven. I like what he's done. I don't like necessarily sometimes where he just put his name on something and it would be garbage because it's just his name. He just put some money
Yeah,
behind
that
it
like
or
Wes
whatever.
Craven presents.
Yeah, yeah. Which I really want to do. We're gonna do like I think it should be more of a crossover, but I would like to do a whole like essentially like on Strange we would call it Famous Dead, which we haven't done in a long time. There's a couple of things I want to do going forward that we should actually go back to the Famous Dead series. But like I like to cut like I when I was a kid, we talked to this. I loved Wes Craven. I wanted to be a director. Like that was my thoughts of like when I grew up. God knows I didn't know I'd be doing this shit. I didn't know what podcasts were at the time, but I wanted to create something. I wanted to create. That was the idea, right? Whether it be through music, or directing. That was why I was like, I want to be a director. And then I found drugs and women, and that didn't really go
Yeah,
very
no,
well.
it's good.
Um, but like
I kind
he
of
was,
wonder sometimes, like maybe I could have been Wes Craven had I have not done that.
I know. But who knows what the future holds? There's like stand-up comedians that get famous when they're 50. So maybe me and you will just be like this like crazy directorial duo when we film the
You know
apocalypse
what, though?
happening during
That
the end
might
times.
actually work out even better though, because you've lived a good portion of life. You've gotten over some of those like things that might be holding you back, and then you can just
Yeah.
like live out your dream. Yeah, this movie as well. Basically, I think ruined like any further like 2010s remakes or whatever. It's just kind of. I think this movie just put a big like
Well, and the
hard.
thing is, you wonder why Wes Craven's kind of pissed and like Robert Englund kind of like promoting it and like being fine with it. I'm like, no, like Wes should be able to get his money from the
Yeah, I
thing that
don't
he
think Robert
created.
Englund ever really said like. I think before it came out, he was like, "Oh yeah, I don't mind it." And the only thing he really ever said seemed to be, "I'm quite happy with the idea of Jackie Earle Haley being Freddy."
And the thing is, I don't think you'll ever listen to it, but I would love to talk to Robert Englund one day while he's still alive. But I have his signed poster back there. It's all fallen over, but he could have done it one more time, especially at this time. You had one more in you, one more, and it could have been like incredible. And I do think there is like now that I think about it, there is this problematic story where they really do focus on the child molestation shit a little too much. Like it is a weird, like even like like when he's like running over and he's like, and it shows like him with the kids in like this very like false background and like very green grass, like everything's happy and wonderful. And you know what I mean? Like you should bring it up on screen because it is like a weird thing. Because even watching it, I'm like, it is weird. And like you see him, it was Freddy Krueger. He loved you guys. And then it shows like the janitor or something. I think he was the janitor, but the other guy like taking the picture and he was behind it all happy and gleeful. And I'm like, I don't know. I think that was part of the problem of the film was really trying to like um accentuate on this idea of like, yeah, that's what he was, sure. Do a movie all about that. But don't like bring it. They didn't necessarily need to bring it into this movie as much as they did of this like almost trying to make it a twist, you know what I mean? Where it's like,
Yeah,
look, he's a nice child monster. Like, that part, I was like, I don't know, man.
I I was looking at this as well, and you can definitely see it. I think when you kind of look at the movie, and it's another one of those things like I think when you watch so many movies, especially horror, you can kind of tell straight away what's after happening. In the sense of like, I'm sure you watch a movie now and instantly you'll go, ah, yeah, I know there was loads of studio interference here. There was probably lots of executives that were going like, well, I think Freddy should do this. Well, I think Freddy should go.
I think Freddy should be a black guy now.
But it's that thing. Like I'm saying, like, I think we should make Freddy trans.
yeah, I know. Yeah.
Please don't. But yeah, like there was 15 drafts of this movie, and the final movie supposedly is a
That's
hybrid of
crazy.
4 different scripts. So they got 4 of their favorite scripts and went, right, let's mash all these into one script, and that
I
sounds like a
hate
really
that.
good idea.
I hate it. Why do they need to do that to all these
But
movies?
funny, actually, there was a sequel planned because it done so well. At first, they were like, I think before like the audience really went to town on it, I think initially they were looking at the numbers going, okay, well, we spent 35 million and we made like 120. So this is it's the most money any Nightmare on Elm Street film has ever made. And it was the most expensive budget for any Nightmare on Elm Street movie. So I think they were like, okay, let's make a sequel. And they were gonna focus on I think it was kind of gonna go back in time. It was him going after like the parents.
Yeah, which weird.
But then that didn't make sense because then we seen it in the future and them parents were still alive. So it was like, I don't know how that was going to make sense. The opening sequence of the sequel would have expanded on the flashback when Krueger died, which would reveal that he was taken to hospital where he would have succumbed to his wounds. It was originally planned as a trilogy. And supposedly 2 other people who were considered for the role of Freddy pretty closely were Billy Bob Thornton. Can you guess who the other one is? I'll give you 3 guesses.
What is that? What's that guy from Nosferatu? The new one. William Dafoe.
No.
Because I think he could definitely play Freddy.
This is a guy now who looks really fucking odd. Really odd.
John Travolta. I'm just kidding.
No. I'll give you a clue. I'll really narrow it down. He's in Mr. Deeds.
Oh, that weird butler guy?
No. Anyone that looks even weirder than him in Mr. Deeds?
Okay, it's not one of Adam Sandler's friends. There'd be no way. The guy plays Cecil?
Fucking Crazy Eyes.
Oh, what?
Steve Buscemi.
Yo, I will pay to see Steve Buscemi as Freddy Krueger. That is
Someone needs
the
to
funniest
Photoshop
thing
that for me
in the
to some like weird AI.
Oh man, I can create that. That would be so funny. I'm gonna see if I can find it. Oh man, that's hilarious.
Actually, you know what, right? I personally think if they were to make Steve Buscemi as Freddy Krueger, it probably would have ended up looking like that anyway.
Oh, so terrible, man.
So terrible, like so bad.
Oh man, there's none, but it would have been so funny. I got an AI thing I can use. I'm gonna try to make it show me Steve Buscemi as Freddy Krueger. That is wild, dude. That Steve Buscemi was gonna play Freddy Krueger. That's so crazy.
Kevin's Bacon. Kevin Bacon. His name has been like floated around for a long time as like a Freddy Krueger. Now, I don't think he's ever said anything about it, but just other people like audiences and like other actors and filmmakers have always mentioned his name. Another cool thing, Warner Brothers tried to get the film converted into 3D 3 weeks before its release.
Wow, that was a bad idea.
Yeah. And like supposedly, like I don't know whoever was doing that came back and went, Are you retarded? You like that's not even possible.
Why? I don't understand. They're just like I hate Hollywood. They're just greedy. Greedy. Yeah. They just want to push out like as much and get as much money as they can from it, rather than make anything worth any substance. A lot of times.
Here's a question for you, right? So we might have differing opinions on this because I'm not sure where I stand. I feel like I keep flip flopping. Jesus.
How many can I bet? So terrible.
For anybody wondering, Tom's going to send me those, or he's going to put them up at some point, and we'll collab on the post. So
Steve
you'll get to see
Buscemi as
some
Freddy
weird,
Krueger.
some weird AI.
Some of them are really weird, man.
Yeah, that's kind of freaky looking. It's like They Live mixed with Freddy Krueger.
Steve Buscemi in Mr. Deeds is very funny. It's like some sort of witch or something, like cast a spell on me. So,
He's like, he's saying something. He's like, no, I was talking to him over there, and it's like a fucking deer or something.
yeah, I know. Oh man.
Yeah, I wrote down, so the suggestion that Freddy was innocent all along actually kind of interested me on these more recent rewatches. But it also felt like they didn't have the balls to see it through, and then try to like backtrack and go, oh, he's actually a pedophile. So like, I will say, I kind of wonder what that story would have looked like if you had went, actually, Freddy is just like scorned, like somebody who wants revenge for these people that thought they were doing the right thing. Like these like and I think there would have been some social commentary there as well, in a sense of like all these do-gooders stepping up and being like, I'm going to do the Lord's work. And then it turns out, oh, wait, we're actually wrong and we're full of shit. And now we're going to try and cover our own tracks.
Honestly, that wouldn't have been a bad movie if they were able to do it properly, of the idea of like, this has happened so often. We could cover it at some point on Strange Brew anyway. It was like the wrongly convicted. Because like that's a big thing, and there's a lot of people that have been wrongly convicted, and they say like something like crazy, like I was like, whatever. What was it? Like, it was something like, I'm not gonna bring up the sticks, but it's like 40% of people on death row were innocent.
Yeah, it inspires me.
Something like crazy like that. Like it might be even more, a little less, and it would be a good story if you're able to pull it off as this idea that he is doing this out of revenge. Because like a vengeful spirit, like we see this all the time, even like as goofy as it is and as annoying as Zach Baggins is, we've been watching Ghost Adventures at like before bed and stuff sometimes, and there's stuff that they catch where I'm like, it's pretty convincing. And then the thing that always bugs me is when Zach does do the thing where he's like, I can feel it in me, it's attacking me, and he just over dramatic.
It just, every time he does that though, I feel like it discredits any of the like the potentially good work they've put in, because
I know.
he's doing that whole like, oh my god, I'm getting so emotional.
I can feel it. I'm emotional. And like they've caught some cool stuff. And like a lot of times there is this weird thing about like this person wants to come out and like even in paranormal events of something that happens to people, like legit ones that people can pretty much prove, of like there was something I was listening to, a reading of like this guy has done a lot of paranormal research, followed the like a ghost essentially telling him to go to this place. They found this open plot. They dug in there and they dug it up, and there was bones there. And then so essentially the spirits were leading these paranormal investigators to find this. And there's stories of stuff like that where it would be interesting if you could do it that way and well enough to make it where it makes sense. But they danced around that line too much. It was like when they do show him where he's the good guy and he cares for the kids, he loved you guys, and then no, he actually was like touching you inappropriately. That's where I'm like, no, you guys didn't need to show that. You guys didn't need to do that. It didn't need to be. You didn't need to bring that to the forefront of the film. It didn't need to happen that way.
And I kind of get, the more I think about it, I kind of get what they were trying to do. So at first they were having like wanting you to have that emotional feeling where you're like, wait a sec. So all along I thought Freddy was this like dirtbag that was justified being like burned alive and whatever. And then it turns out that the actual story is the parents got it wrong and wrongly accused him, and this is why he won't stop coming back. And I was like kind of I was going, actually, you know what? That's a pretty good like angle. And then I think probably what they done was somebody probably sat there and went, and you know what would make it even better? If 10 minutes later we went back on all that and we were like, actually, he thought he was a child murderer, but he's actually been molesting all the kids as well. So it's like, so then you're supposed to like double go like,
it wasn't portrayed well.
Not really. It just felt like all the ideas felt like half-baked ideas. I even wrote down, I love the idea of micro naps. I looked into that some, and like that's an actual thing that like when you stay awake for a certain amount of time, that your your brain basically does this like short circuit reset thing where it like goes, it like forces you into sleep while like you're still kind of awake.
Mhm.
And like people that suffer from chronic insomnia and things like that actually like suffer from this thing. It's an actual condition. And I was like, but again, it just feels like that it's way underplayed. They kind of use it. It could have been a really cool like plot device, and then they just like veer away from go, just move on to something else.
That's what is that my problem. The biggest problem with this film, I do believe, is the plot and the misdirection and stuff like that. But also it's the acting. I wrote this down. I I really think they some of the lines are super cringy, like just not thought out in the way they direct them. You have no idea what I've seen. It's just like in the way they like it would be good if they actually did it well, but the one guy's like he's like the camera leaves or whatever, and the person leaves, and it's just like you have no idea what I've seen. Is that the beginning of the film?
Burn man with the striped sweater, he keeps trying to kill me.
It's so bad.
It's just like,
You gotta utilize your soundboard, man. You have the better one, and everyone's like, I'm the soundboard king because I always like can just fucking. It's sometimes hard, but I can do it on the fly. You know what I mean?
I could you make the argument, right, that this is the scariest movie in the entire franchise, despite all the flaws that we're obviously going to pick up on more stuff as well, like about
No,
script,
no,
dialogue, all
no,
that shit. You don't think it's the scariest one in
no,
the franchise?
no, not even close. I find the original way scarier than this because I watched that as a kid, and it freaked me out, especially that like Nancy when he's in like the garden and stuff like that. Like, and the kill scene is way more dramatic when what's her name dies, the blonde. I'm just gonna call her a whore. That's inappropriate.
Ooh.
What is her name? The fucking her friend. Why can't I think of this? Her stupid her it's not God, her stupid friend. What is her name? I can guess.
I'm not, yeah, I can't remember the name, but I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, we're gonna find out. I'm gonna be fucking mad if I don't. I really think they should have thought out the face and made it look better. It's pretty bad. This is what I wrote down. I know it's supposed to look like a real burn victim, but it doesn't look that great. Yeah, can we bring it up? Because it's like just I understand what they're going for, and it could have been better. Tina, I was like, it's some sort of like horror name. Someone's gonna get so mad at me. He's like, my name's Tina. I'm like when Tina's kill scene in the original is fucked up. She's like grabbing everything, and like it's just, yeah, it's.
I don't know what the hell that is.
That's
That's
the
like
mask.
I think that's someone else's interpretation.
Like
of it,
to me, show. You see that, right? The mask thing that they probably created or whatever. Even his face, it does remind me of what we're hopefully going to get into at some point. Is Silence of the Lambs of like the
Mason
cannibal series.
Verger.
Yeah, of like the burn victim look.
Yeah,
And it's just like, I don't know, you should have just kept to the original like skin ripping Freddy, where it's like it looks like his skin's all ripped apart. Yeah, look at that. When he smiles, it's just so bad, man.
When he smiles, though, like the problem I have with it is because this is supposed to be a more serious Freddy. He looks goofy when he smiles. I'm like, that's really goofy to me.
I just have a problem with it. I don't think it looks that great. Not gonna lie, number 5 that we're showing, and that's the one from Freddy as when they stepped further and further away from the makeup because Robert Englund didn't like being suffocated by the makeup. Oh, that one is
terrible.
It's so bad. But would I buy that mask? Yeah, for fun. I would buy it. Yeah, but like the scene, like the original always creeped me out, and I always will think that it's like it was well done for the time, especially, and it did scare me as a kid. And look at that. Look at the Freddy versus Jason makeup compared to his, and it just doesn't look like Freddy Krueger. It looks like there's a layer of plastic on his face, or like silicone, or like some prosthetic. Like you can clearly see. Yeah, I hate it. It bothers me a lot.
It is sort of weird. I will give you that. It is very strange.
I just wish they didn't do it that way. Like, here, take yours off screen. Let me show you mine.
There's my like that
Yes.
image alone is just the goofiest looking. I don't even know what that's supposed to be like.
When he's in the hallway, and why is he laughing like that? See, look at this one. It is so different from the original film in the 80s compared to like 2010 when how much makeup effects you guys have and like yeah, this is so terrible. Don't want to showcase other people's shit, but like it is, I don't know, it just doesn't look like Freddy Krueger. We've established this character. I don't know where the hell Aaron went, but I guess I'm still here.
Am I here?
I don't know where you went.
Weird.
Oh, that was weird. I
That
heard you.
even.
Oh, maybe. Oh, you probably changed the screen setting so it overlaid everything. But here, I don't know. I just want to bring this up again. Just it is so. I don't know. There's just we've established this character, right? We know who he is. We know what he looks like, and there's just a problem with the type of makeup and what they used is just not Freddy Krueger to me because it is the idea, especially with these characters like this. Like look at this scene. Like it doesn't look good. It does not look good.
Mm.
It doesn't look like Freddy to me. There's just something like he looks very scrawny and look at his weird hat and like there's just something about it. Even like in the Dead by Daylight.
Yep.
They use that Freddy.
Yeah, no, weird. It
Which
must
is
be something to do
so
with licensing or something, though. It has
it
to be.
has to be. It's really weird and it's like
Like, it was
why?
probably cheaper, maybe, to get him.
Yeah, so it's such bullshit though. Nobody wants that. I just want to finish off with I do hate it and it does bother me. And I tried to like it. And I tried to like even the new glove. Don't like the glove either. Sorry, but
This time around, it's definitely grown on me. The movie has now more, I think, Jackie Earle Haley attempting to play Freddy. I think I'm never going to like it if it's not Robert Englund. But I remember before I completely like slated him and I was like, he's garbage, he's terrible. Why'd they pick him? Blah blah blah. But I think he's probably the best thing about the movie.
yeah, I agree.
Outside of like the makeup and whatever other problems you might have with it. I think him as Freddy is probably the best thing about it. And I kept going, I wrote down, I keep going back to how good the idea of making him some kind of weird sadist who gets off on gaslighting and torturing the same people that he abused. Like either lean into it or don't mention it at all. Like you're either going to have to go full fledged on the whole like weird molester. Like he's like having a laugh by making you think, oh, wait, we accused him wrongly. And then him being like, haha, no, joke. I actually molested everybody. It's a big joke. Like either say that and make it like it is, or just don't say any of that at all. The cinematography was really good. I'll give it that.
I did write that down. Like some of the scenes are cool with the newer technology, is what I wrote. Like in the snow and the stuff like that. Like even in the jail. But it, like I said, the acting is something that really was lacking to me. And if the acting was more on point, like even just a little more, like the remake of Friday the 13th, like at least the acting like was there. Like there was actors that you knew of. Even in this one, it was kind of slightly that way, but not even close to the same way as like the 2009 version of Friday the 13th. There was just something else there. Something else was lacking. Even the scene that you're showing of him coming through the wall was very much like
the original. Like that's the
it
original.
was kind of forced.
Cool. And then you
Yeah.
have that weird CG thing. I just don't like it at all.
Yeah. This is my
Like
problem with when they like
They could have just
indulged in the
copied that
technology.
again, and it would have been better.
Yeah, yeah. Or even done it like that way, but like not so much like as soon as like CGI came out and like you can see this with like obviously Phantom Menace and some of these movies that really indulged into like let's just make everything out of like these computer generated images. You can see such a difference of the quality even. And me and you have stated numerous times that we do like the practical effects more.
Mhm.
There was cool things that they chose to do. Like the jail scene is interesting and different from the original I wrote down. but I even wrote like showing the behind character of Freddy as kind of this nice level pedophile is a little weird. It just I even said I don't mind Jack as Freddy. It's just the face that just looks weird. And these are the things I'm writing down as I'm watching it. I wouldn't
Uh,
even mind doing a watch along for Patreon at some point, of
yeah,
just maybe me and you really like critiquing the film. I do think we have a good eye for what like is good horror and which like people can dispute that whatever they like, but I've been a horror fan since I was 10 years old, 8 years old. So I'm watching Frankenstein. I've been like this my entire life, right? So it
um,
is
I had
sad.
written down another huge problem that I have with the movie upon subsequent rewatches, like at this stage,
Mhm.
was Rooney Mara, who plays Nancy. So, right, okay, yeah, right. So
Yeah, I agree with
I
that.
found out, right, that she publicly stated that she self-sabotaged her audition and was upset when she found out she got the role of Nancy. She even said she felt above the role, and if this was what her opportunities were going to look like in the acting world, she wasn't interested in acting at all anymore.
Well, you didn't prove you had chops to do it in any regard to begin with. So why would you like you're throwing away an opportunity to be in the one of the most recognized horror franchises in the entire fucking world. Like people in Japan, people in Pakistan, people in all these like third world countries would know what the hell Freddy Krueger is. So like that's crazy that you'll just like throw away like your opportunity to show your chops. You know what I mean? I'm sure the director, I mean, some people had some input and stuff like that, but like that's kind of like I hate people like that, like Jennifer
Mhm.
Aniston.
Yeah,
When it
yeah.
comes to Leprechaun, we've talked about this. I'm like, fuck, this was your first opportunity. This would like showed people who you were, and you're gonna like shit on it like that.
And like you can feel it as well when I rewatched it with that in mind. I was kind of trying to
Yeah,
focus on her a bit more, and like I'd seen people before say like she doesn't even feel like a final girl really.
no,
And like you can definitely feel when you know that about her when she said something like that, and then you rewatch the movie, you can tell that she's like phoning in the entire performance. Now the other thing I will say is, now look, I don't like obviously there's a lot of logistics and there's a lot of issues there, but like I can't help but feel like if I was the director, like that I wouldn't. Now again, this is the others, right? I'm gonna say something. So I was gonna say I can't help but feel like that if I was the director, I wouldn't sit her down and go, okay, you have 24 hours to sort your shit out because if you don't, I'm going to fuck you off the set. Like after the first day, I would have been like, I'm not shooting any more material with you in it. So I'm going to fuck you off the set and we're going to get someone different and we're going to have to start day two
it's a
brand
weird
new
way to
again.
say it, Aaron. Is he gonna fuck her or is he gonna kick her off the set?
Just grab her and just fucking throw her onto the street and go, now bitch, get a fucking job waiting for you.
I didn't realize she was in Urban Legends Bloody Mary, which is also a trash horror film, not gonna lie.
Someone said
Um,
she's been in other movies and like she's been really like had a really good performances, which is kind
yeah,
of
have you ever
annoying.
seen
And
Youth
then
and Revolt? That movie's great, actually.
um and I do
Youth
think then that
and
you know
Revolt
we
with
want
Michael Cera.
sorry, I don't know what happened there. We both cut out.
Yeah. Maybe
Um
it's me searching this up. I'm looking through all those stupid movies.
the you know we were saying about the director, like why did they get a first time like guy? I know he'd done lots of work in commercials and in music videos and all that shit, but like why did they get, and now that I think about it, yeah, and I also think that sometimes when studios want a certain type of movie made, they don't want somebody like Wes Craven or anything to step in because I'm not saying Wes would have even done it, but like I don't think he would have. But they don't want somebody like that because he'll go, no, fuck you, I'm not doing that. Whereas like if you get this first time director in, you can bring him in. He has a decent style. He knows how to use the camera. He knows how to direct. But the studio can basically just go, this is the way you're going to do it, and that's it.
Lick my boot.
Basically, and like you see this time and time again, it's actually really unfortunate to bring in first time directors to these big IPs, just as like I think they're just like a fucking they bring them in, just like we're going to tell you what to do, and you're going to be glad to be here, so you're just going to do whatever we tell you.
Yeah, and you see this even like actors, actresses. I know they don't like that anymore. It's just all actors or whatever. But like you see this with Even like the chick that plays Nancy is like she's only in a couple things, and then she was in like the girl with the dragon tattoo that I never watched any of those films, but that like she only did a couple other smaller things, and then it kind of brought her into the folds of things, and then you're gonna like shit on it in some way, right? So like it
That
is
really
interesting.
annoyed me.
I hate when people do that. I'm like, you're given an opportunity, and it's like if you then don't take it. If you think it's below you and beneath you,
Yeah, just don't.
then don't do it. Maybe it would have been better if they cast somebody else, right? And like it is. This is what my problem is, and we've said this numerous times. When it comes to like any horror movie, any movie in general, it's especially horror movies because I feel like it's just like something different that like they're like whatever. It's just it's not like it's not going to win Oscars or whatever, and they just like have so many people have different inputs, and then the movie ends up turning out way different than what it could have originally been, especially as like a reboot, remake, and there's so many disappointing things.
I did write down as well the CGI of Freddy coming out of Nancy's wall was just incredibly awful to me and looked so out of place and so obviously CG that I was literally like I couldn't even look and I was like, Jesus Christ.
And it's so funny that like I'm gonna be critical when it comes to especially movies that I really do enjoy. And like I would rather, not gonna lie, watch Friday the 13th Part 5, the one that I do loathe the most, than this. At least you get that scene where he like force feeds that chick till she like blows up or whatever. Like he just keeps feeding her food. Like that shit's funny to me, right? And it is interesting because like I don't know, I try to give things a fair chance. And then as soon as it starts to like kind of sway in certain different, well, there's so many problems with this film.
There's
Aaron's
a
bringing up screenshots of the film.
yeah, it's a deleted scene. So there's deleted scenes on the Blu-ray, and then supposedly there's others that only appeared in like as little clips in like trailers or like certain TV spots or commercials.
Do you own the Blu-ray?
I don't think so actually, which is funny because I own like most movies,
everything.
like I pick them up like really cheap,
Mhm.
and I actually don't think I have that movie. Yeah, like there was like Freddy making his glove, Freddy dying in a hospital after being burnt, which is that image on screen right now.
Weird.
Freddy using Chris's body to taunt Nancy, Freddy unzipping Quentin during a nightmare and coming out through his face. Alternate ending with Nancy, Quentin, and Freddy at a church. There was
I
an
thought there were
alternate.
some weak moments though to do with like the ending, and I don't know. There's
Do you know what? As well, it really felt like they were kind of kicking Freddy when he was down as well, because like he gets brought out of the dream world, and then basically just gets killed in like 2 seconds. There's like a little bit of a cool fight for literally 20 seconds, and it's like, oh, he's dead, done, easy.
Yeah. Do you think about like even Freddy's dead? Which people like, I think his makeup is one of the worst. That's when they like Robert Englund was over, doing the whole makeup. I think he always was, especially after the first couple. But when they're doing that fight scene, when he kind of gets brought back into it was cool, man. Like it was like a cool thing. Like I actually like Freddy's Dead. We talked about that during our deep dive, so you guys have not listened or watched that, definitely do that. But like even that scene where he's coming out of the fire, I was like, oh, cringy. And I'm a cringy guy, so it's fine. But when he's like,
Oh, when he's running out of the thing, yeah.
yeah, it's like so much CGI. I hate that, man. It's overuse of that shit.
There was a alternate ending where Freddy traps Nancy on the bed. He reverts back to his regular non-burned form, which scares her even more and brings back memories of her abuse.
That's a great idea.
Quentin wakes her up and Freddy is brought to reality. Laughing, he tells Nancy he will always be her nightmare, but before he can kill her, she hits him with a bat and starts setting the place on fire, leaving him to burn as he has now become the victim.
Yeah, not like I think I could have thought of that when I was 12 and I was pretending to write. I had a whole booklet of like movie ideas I had, and I actually put down like who I would star as what role was all my friends. Oh, Zoe will play this, Ryan will play this, Becky will play this. I actually had, if I can find it, that'd be very funny to show on the show, especially for a Patreon thing. It's got to be somewhere. And I used to write down all these ideas. I would just write out a name. Like I had one about like A Nightmare at Dawn or something like that. And I would like write down the idea of what the film would be. And this was when I was 11. I think I could think of a better idea at that age than.
It's unfortunate because the whole thing just reeks of like studio interference. Way too many executives that want to be filmmakers that just don't have the balls. And it's like, I want to say I don't understand it. I do, because this happens time and time again. Like, it's just like, why though? Why? Funny actually, I think it is growing on people more and more though. Like I looked up some of the reviews on like IMDb and stuff like that, and a lot of people seem to have given it like a 6, 7 out of 10, saying like, funny enough, I did actually really enjoy it. I had a feeling this movie was going to be slated, and some of the criticism is definitely justified. But in all honesty, I kind of dug it. The opening scene was fun. It's a very smart looking movie. The cinematography looks great. The content of the film is decent. It's a shame that Robert Englund didn't reprise the role, but I can imagine he feels that it's well and truly in the past. That fact for me was definitely a nail in the coffin for the film. I'm not sure what many were expecting. Some of the scares are a little on the tame side by today's standards, but the story was okay, bar the obvious pedophile thing. It definitely deserved a little bit more loving than it got, but I can understand one way or the other. It's definitely like Marmite. You either kind of like it or you just hate it.
You're messing with something that is already a beloved movie, a beloved character, as weird as that is, right? And the problem is, I was going to say earlier, with things like Friday the 13th and Jason, it's not based on who plays Jason really. There's obviously movements and things that, make Jason who he is, but you can pretty much throw some big dude in the costume as long as he's pretty decent at walking around and stalking people and being kind of ominous. It's fine. But with Freddy Krueger, as much as I did my Jack's performance to some extent, it is someone who is a beloved character. Even Michael Myers, you can throw anyone in that mask as long as they do a decent job at stalking around. It is the problem when it's something that people do have recognized as a character that already exists, right? Like if this just came out of nowhere, right, and it was just something that they just did for that movie and Freddy didn't exist beforehand, it might have been received a little better. But because it is that he's a recognized character, a lot of people did have a problem with it. And I'm gonna rate it right now, and I'm gonna give it a fucking 3. I'll give it a 3.5. That's as much as I'm going to give it, considering I love Robert Englund and Freddy Krueger.
I'll give it a 5, which I'm kind of shocked by. Before I rewatched it a couple of times recently and kind of dug into it a bit more, I would have probably given this like a 1 or a 0.5.
I'm the trash man. I come out, I throw trash all over the ring, and then I start eating garbage, and then I pick up the trash can and I trash the guy.
Oh, it's so good. Like
you have to add that in for the audio.
Now, why don't you just fucking die?
Yeah, I agree kind of with the voice, eh?
Yeah, there's just certain scenes where you really know, and I'm like, well, I don't even know what that's supposed to be. You know what I was just thinking as well? So I was reading something here before we finished this episode.
Yeah.
Producer Brad Fuller has stated that while the film was definitely a financial success, the backlash from fans, critics, and industry professionals alike was so great that the phones at Platinum Dunes didn't ring for nearly 2 years. They would not make another film until The Purge in 2013. He admits that this film was handled poorly and a huge step back for the company. It was decided that this would be their last horror remake. And I was just looking here, right? How could a company that get so many things right in a way make such a huge misstep? So they done Texas Chainsaw in 2003.
Yeah, great.
They done the Amityville Horror in 2005, which wasn't bad.
Not bad.
They done Texas Chainsaw The Beginning, which was okay. They done
That
the
was
Hitch
decent.
remake, which was good. They
I'll
done
have to
The
watch that.
Unborn, which was good. They done Friday the 13th reboot, which was good. Then they do Nightmare on Elm Street. Everything
Yeah, I
just
know.
falls apart. They don't make a movie for nearly 3 years. They make The Purge Anarchy.
Decent.
They made Ouija. That was quite good, right?
I didn't mind it. There's some movies like that where I'm like, I didn't mind it.
Purge Election Year, the sequel to Ouija, Origin of Evil, A Quiet Place 2, The Forever Purge, Quiet Place Day 1, and their most recent movie was Apartment 7A. That's the movie you told me to watch, right?
Yeah, it's actually they did that. That was actually really good. I thought.
Yeah.
Decent.
So it's like, how did they make? But is it that thing though, right? Where they've done Texas Chainsaw, they've done Amityville Horror, they've done the prequel to Texas Chainsaw, they've done The Hitcher, they've done The Unborn, they've done Friday the 13th. Is it a case then at that point, like they're going like, oh, Billy Big Balls? So everybody's like, yeah, I have a cool idea. Remember I had that cool idea for The Hitcher? Well, now I have a cool idea for Freddy. Oh yeah, I have a cool idea. Let's all sit around and all have cool ideas.
Yeah, and that is a big problem. As if too many what's that quote? I said too many chefs, not enough cooks. Too many Indians, not enough, or too many chiefs, not enough Indians.
Could be canceled for saying that now.
Yeah, I know. They're Native Americans. You know what's funny? Speaking about being canceled, I when I was looking at, I just put up like a nightmare. And look at this. Just as a weird thing, I was like, what the fuck? Yeah, it shared. A nightmare at a residential school. What?
Okay.
Who created that art, man? Obviously, some indigenous person.
Kind of creepy.
Is that weird? Let's do that movie. Let's
Maybe
really get
creepier than
canceled.
this movie. But yeah, I mean, look,
I wanted to like it. I wanted to. I didn't. I'm sorry.
I enjoy some aspects of it, but overall, it's just not so great for me, which is unfortunate. But
I'm looking through some of the images, and man, he just does not look good. His eyes look like little hamster eyes. Look at this shit. Like, let me show. Like, look at this. He looks like a hamster. He looks like some like weird creature. Like that looks like a hamster.
Yeah, it's strange. It's like the bridge of his nose and stuff. They like widened.
Watch how much makeup they like caked on. It looks like to me. And probably using CGI, like compared to like this, and then you have or even this, and then you have like it doesn't look good, man. His beady little eyes, like
it's weird. It's unfortunate.
Beady little eyes.
It is unfortunate, but I would love to know everybody's thoughts. If you've gotten to the end of this episode, I'd like to know, do you like this movie? Do you not like this movie? And if so, why or why not? Because I do think there's definitely a cult following I heard for this movie. Now, I don't think people think it's the best movie ever or anything like that, but there's definitely, I wouldn't say I've been converted, but I was trying to give it a little bit more allowances and go, okay, that was kind of cool. And like you said, there was parts where I was like, okay, I have to kind of admit that scene was kind of cool, or that looked good, or if they had done this a little bit differently, that could have been really, really cool. You can definitely see the making of a good movie, but it just didn't come across like that.
There's too many problematic things with it. When I'm like, before we even did this and before we even rewatched it, I remember my biggest guff, you could say, my biggest problem was the acting. It wasn't even the storyline or the way they put together, and I think I liked it more when I first saw it than I do now after like trying to analyze it and really give it an honest opinion. And I know there's people out there that probably really like it. And the thing is, there's movies that we're going to talk about that I really like or Aaron really likes that the other people don't. As weird as it sounds, though, me and Aaron mostly agree on like what we think is good and bad. And this was, Aaron was pretty honest. I was like, it's a movie I will watch again. Realistically, I will watch this in a couple of years. So is it that bad? There's some movies that I'll never watch again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's true. The one thing I will say is I find myself rewatching this movie every couple of years because
me too.
I know it's shit, but I actually forget nearly everything that happens. And I don't think that's a good thing.
No.
As much as I wish I could do that sometimes with movies, I wish I could erase my memory of them and watch them for the first time again.
Mhm.
Like, I don't know how many times I've rewatched this movie in the last couple of years and been like, I have no fucking idea. If you were to ask me right now what happens, I actually have no idea. Like, I can remember little things where I'm like,
Yeah,
oh
yeah.
yeah, he gets like he's supposed to be like a molester, but then he's not, and then he is, and something about a school. And then I remember the opening scene, and then I'm like, I couldn't really tell you any of the rest of the kills. I'm like, I don't actually remember anything.
And being forgettable is not really
Not really.
a
And I
good
remember
thing.
there's a couple of filmmakers that I've had on like interview and stuff, and they've told me like behind the scenes, you you want to be memorable either for the fact that you made an amazing movie that everyone loves, or it's that really divisive thing where people are like, oh, it was fucking so bad, or it was so grotesque, or it was so this, or it was so that, or it was too aggressive, or it was too, so like you never really want to be in that middle ground, as weird as that might sound. You never want to be in that middle ground of like, what movie? Who? What happened?
Yeah, I
Which makes
know.
sense. Which makes sense. You want to kind of be controversial either way.
I know, and I was looking at this just came up. I was like, brand new, fully immersive Halloween horror night. This is in merry old near Whitechapel, London, England, which is not really English anymore. But there's like some like it's Nightmare at the Priory. I guess you would call it a priory. It looks kind of cool. It's a scare maze, the UK's scariest maze. And it's inspired by like a Nightmare on Elm Street. That's kind of cool.
I'd love to do something like that, to be honest.
I'd love to do that stuff together. Why just come move to Canada? We'll live in communism together.
Right. Yeah, but you always tell me it's terrible over there. So I'm like,
It is. We
I
pay
might have
so
to
much
evacuate
money.
this country anyway after a while. I actually no, I'm going to shut up because if not, we're going to go completely.
No,
after
we're
this.
gonna go. Yeah, I was gonna
But
say
yeah,
this.
if you've gotten to the end of the episode, let us know on
Yes.
social media or in the comments down below, or wherever you're listening or watching this. What you thought about this movie. Is there parts that we didn't like that you did, or vice versa? And maybe suggestions for other movies you might like us to cover. I have said
We
to
are
Tom,
all ears.
I would like to cover the Hitcher remake, and there's a couple of others there. I wouldn't even mind covering the maybe do something like do the original Amityville Horror versus the remake.
That's actually a good idea for an
Yeah,
episode.
that might be an interesting episode if we watch both of them and then kind of try and compare the two
Yes,
differences. That might be.
I kind of
Um,
dig that.
I like that, but yeah, this has been fun. I do like talking about this stuff, even sometimes when I don't like them. It's nice to go back and revisit and see it with a
I
different.
agree.
Yes,
I agree. It's still Nightmare on Elm Street to me. At the end of the day, as much as I do have a lot of problems with it, it still feels somewhat, not all the way, but it's like it's there. There is that bridge where it is a Nightmare on Elm Street. It's just not the bridge is not formed properly.
yeah, 100%.
Now
But like
it's
I said,
Pancake Tuesday, so I can smell my wife making pancakes. She was like, "You're not going to be there for when it's this important day," and I was like, "It's a fucking made up day, man. It's Pancake Tuesday.
yeah, Pancake Tuesday, man.
It's made up."
But yeah, reach out on social medias. All the links will be down below in the descriptions wherever you're listening to this.
We
We
love
love
you.
you all. Continue to support the show, like, share, interact. All that stuff helps more than anything. Obviously, be great to be like making shit tons of money and whatever, but that's the way you can get us started is by interacting, by sharing, by liking, by commenting, recommending to
Please.
a friend, whatever.
Hopefully, by the time we're 45, we'll be able to live off both.
Yeah, hopefully by the time I'm collecting the old age pension, if the world hasn't blown up, I'll be able to make a few bucks off of this. But yeah, we love you all, and we'll see you really soon.
Now it's time